Steve Beverly with us. How you doing? Oh, let me allow me to turn this microphone up. I'm still new at engineering.
Some people probably say I sounded better the way
Better,
you had
better
it
the way,
originally.
that does happen sometimes. It's good to see you, by the way.
Same here.
Steve Beverly works at, he's a broadcast professor extraordinary at Union University. He's been the voice of Union University basketball for how many years?
25.
25 years. Finally decided this year.
Yeah.
Gonna step aside and let some of these younger folks take over the microphone.
It's time, and I got a couple of young kids that are really
good at it.
I think Alex Northcutt and Logan Whaley are going to do a tremendous job.
All right, so anyway.
And they've had some good opportunities this year to do some play-by-play on a few games. So I'm really happy that we've got young people who are really ready to move into that role. Yeah.
All right, they're always there, so that transition is taking place. But Jackson's fortunate to have Steve Beverly in that program at Union. Blessed to have that relationship at E+ TV6. Jackson 24/7 is just a real plus as far as covering local news, and probably do the most thorough job. Well, I know they do the most thorough job in television as far as covering things here, because the focus is on Jackson. And so things like the school board and superintendent search and everything else, they follow in great detail. So where are we now? We completed the interviews yesterday.
Yep.
We carried that last evening. And so where do we go now? This Board of Education meeting this evening, what's happening, Steve?
They're going to take the vote unless something happens to cause them to delay it. It's going to come down now to deciding which of these two finalists are going to be the choice, and if they do go forward, as most people expect them to, then the determination will be after that.
Okay.
How long will the contract be as far as what is offered and a potential salary for that person?
Okay.
Because whereas if they go forward with the vote as we expect, it will be a done deal in that they have chosen who they want, but that person's still got to agree to the terms. I don't think that will be a major issue.
All right, so you hold out the possibility that something else might happen, or they're not ready to make a decision?
No, I think they've been ready to make a decision
for a long time,
for a few weeks.
Okay,
I think they have.
So tonight, that coverage starts at 6:30 this evening. Steve will anchor this coverage at E+ TV6 and eplusTV6.com if you live outside the JA broadband system. And so
we had.
So what do you look for the discussion to be then, Steve?
You always, Steve, when you get down to a vote, you have an opportunity for all of the board members to express their opinions, and I'm sure there will be almost across the board, except for maybe a couple of board members who tend to be quieter than the others. But typically, they'll go around the table and give reasons why their vote. It's almost like to tell the truth. Well, who did you vote for and why?
Okay.
They will tell who they voted, who they intend to vote for, and why out of the two finalists was their choice, and then they'll take the vote.
All
and we had an opportunity on the 9th and yesterday to have both Eric Jones and Tammy Knipp for a whole hour on Jackson 24/7.
Okay.
We did an expanded edition on both of them, and I got to tell you, I was impressed with both of them.
Okay.
I don't think this district could go wrong with either one of them.
Okay.
Because Eric Jones demonstrated in the interview I had with him with a lot of youthfulness, energy. He would be the youngest superintendent ever chosen to lead this school district. Tammy Knipp, I was really impressed with how much she had done her homework, because she already has a 100-day plan as to what she would like to spend time evaluating, building relationships in this community. She was very specific on a number of answers that we asked about. And so, in short, I think either one of these candidates would be very, very well qualified to take the job. I think the other thing on this, Steve, is you look at across the board, you got a couple of issues. A week ago, Mayor Jerry Gist is on Jackson 24/7 College News Conference.
All right.
And he was very emphatic. He said, I'm going to be a cheerleader for this next superintendent, whoever it is. But he said, we have got to get this one right. And he held out just a little bit of a carrot that if we don't get it right this time, whether it's the superintendent or whether it's the system that does not work, that the city is doing research
Get back in the
that could lead to getting back in the education business. Now, he didn't specifically say those words, but that was you knew that was the intent. That's one thing. And then the other thing, Steve, we now have a school board member that is put on the table the prospect of a proposal that was created by Brent Lay before Vision 2020 was approved, and it's now being unofficially called the Alexander Lay Plan, which would, for all intents and purposes, repeal Vision 2020. If that went somewhere, and I know there will be some support for that,
Right.
if that went somewhere, that would be an awfully difficult and chaotic thing for a new superintendent to have to deal with.
Steve Beverly is with us. Well, can you stay for a few minutes?
I can.
Buddy Pay is coming in. He'll be with us over in the next hour. We've got several things to do, plus we'll play some music and all. That's what we do. Blue Suede Forever. But anyway, just set some context on this and some other things about education. We got some more music before we get to the top of the hour. It's what we do. It's all right here. 64 degrees. Our temperature is dropping a bit. Forecast high today in the 70s as opposed to yesterday's 80s.
Yeah.
But in the 50s tomorrow. A big change coming out there. This is Blue Suede Forever. Steve Beverly is our guest, and the superintendent selection process will be tonight at 6:30. We'll carry it live at E+ TV 6. We're back on Blue Suede Forever, and Steve Beverly is with us. He is the professor at Union University of Broadcast, host of Jackson 12, producer of Jackson 24/7. Yeah, not the host.
I was only the anchor yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. We got students that do all that work at Jackson 24/7. So anyway, good to have him. Good to have him with us. We'll talk to Buddy Pady over the next hour. Dr. David Burke's going to be with us. We got special things to do. But one other thing following, the city looks at the money now that it's surrendered. With consolidation, and looks at that and feels that money has been used to arbitrarily hold down county tax rate or property tax rate, not county. We all pay the property taxes, city and county.
Sure.
Hasn't gone into education, and they've been frustrated with this system for a long time. And they're looking at all kinds of pressing city needs that they're scrambling to find revenue sources for. So they would like to get that back. Is that possible?
Well,
has the mayor hinted that could be done?
Oh yes.
Okay.
On College News Conference yesterday was a week ago.
Okay.
He said in specific answer to a question that the city would like to be able to cap the amount of money that they are paying out in sales taxes for education so they can use the added money for other needs that this city has in order to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very, very real possibility.
Okay. In looking back, I wonder, because you can second guess it. School consolidation came about because the effort was going to be to bring metro government, which did not prove successful, and then the city found itself having surrendered its education system and its revenue into the future, and so now they're wanting to back away from that. Well, that's going to be interesting discussion. What about the long-term capital needs of the school system?
Ooh. This is going to be the county commission granted them $1.7 million, which is
holding back half the other.
But here's the problem that you have. Look at the massive amount of building maintenance needs that are still out there.
The Whitehall was reflected that you have a 10-minute hailstorm and you totally destroy school.
I mean, it
totally
rendered the school unusable.
Yeah.
And so you've got all of these building that if you're going to have older schools, these things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And deferred maintenance, much less talking about building a new K through 8, which I think this community probably believes is sorely needed. And David Clift is still, and he has been for many years, talking about building a high school out in northwest Jackson, where all the people are moving to. But I got to be honest with you. I think we are getting close to that banjo string snapping.
Well, because people out west point to all the construction that's gone on with Lane and Technology, Rose Hill, and Liberty, and say all the construction has gone east. But then I heard Ms. Hampton say the other day that Rose Hill is not east in her view.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So So we've got all kinds of different elements out there.
Yeah.
Well, it will be interesting to see. The decision on the superintendent may be made tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. You expect?
I expect it to be made tonight. I can see no reason that they would delay this for any reason, unless there was, say, a deadlock in the vote. And I don't expect that.
Okay. All right. We will see where it goes. Man, I appreciate you being with us.
Hey,
catch his work at Jackson 24/7. Comes up live every day at noon.
And
then repeats at
4, 6:30, and 9:30, and April 6th.
And now it's on in the morning before and after Blue Suede Forever.
Before and after Blue Suede Forever.
And so it's a great way to keep up with what's going on locally in
April. I'll mention to you that April the 6th, we have got the Happy Organist coming on Jackson 24/7. His name is Charles Ritchie. He's on YouTube.
Okay.
He plays the happiest and liveliest version of some of the slowest hymns that you have ever heard. And he's like the Joanne Castle whistle at the organ.
Okay.
He's all over the organ, and he grins at you all the time.
All the time. All right. Well, we'll jump into that. Steve's always a pleasure.
My
Thank you
pleasure,
so very
Steve.
much. Yeah, Steve Beverly with us. We're gonna play a song and head toward the top of the hour here. It's 7:50 in the morning. Our temp has dropped to 64 degrees. It dropped, and that's where we are. We got some special. David Burke, Dr. David Burke's going to be with us, and then Buddy Patey. And we look forward to discussion coming up the next hour. We'll also have some music from Gil Scott-Heron. He's a very different writer, very poignant writer. And a lot of that may have been birthed right out of his experience here in Jackson, Tennessee. We'll talk to Buddy about all of that as we continue. This is Blue Suede Forever. We're live at the Dixie Café, Old Country Store, Casey Jones Village on Kool 103.7 and WDXI 1310.